hold it in place. And so I'm just going to spin this on there like so, and then put the nuts on. And if I can find the slot, there it is. Okay. And okay, and it is getting a pretty good spin at the end there, so I do need to have the nuts to hold it on. Okay, tighten that down. Now, like I said, when I first did this, I actually just used the micro switch that was working currently as my Z end stop, and just moved the whole thing over, wires and all. For the sake of clarity right here, I'm not using a wired up setup, but I will assume that if you own this printer, then you built it from the kit. And if you excuse me, if you built the printer from the kit, you're not going to be terribly intimidated by what is involved in wiring up a micro switch. So that's what we're looking for right there. And then the next thing we're going to do is take this 90-degree horn that just has the tab here on one side, and we're going to just slide that in there. Now I have found, and I kind of did this intentionally, you may have to clean out a little bit of space in the slot to get this to fit snugly. So be prepared to do that a little bit, and don't panic if it doesn't fit perfectly right off the bat. Now it looks like I have actually misplaced. Oh, that's not true. Here it is. Okay, so I'm going to take the smallest screw, and I'm not going to actually do it, but this comes with two different sizes of screw in the accessory bundle right here. And what I would normally do is just go ahead and screw that through one of the holes in this servo horn into the material of the slot, just to make sure that it gets a good snug fit and stays in place. Okay, so now we've got that sub-assembly done. So what we're going to do is just put that over there, and now we're going to take this, which is going to replace the this part right here, which is of course the wall of the or the side of the X carriage, and this is going to replace that part. So we're just going to take this servo, and with the business end forward, we're just going to slide that right in there. Now this one I designed to be an interference fit, so I could just slide that in without having to put fasteners on. There are holes for screws, so if you don't have a tight fit on yours, or you just want to have the extra security of knowing there's fasteners, by all means go ahead and put those on. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the arm assembly that we made before, and we're just going to slide that onto the servo arm, and we're going to do that in roughly a 90-degree position or so, and we'll fine-tune that a little bit later on in this process. And then we will take one of the larger screws and put it right there to hold the servo arm, or the actuator arm, onto the servo. So this is what we're going to end up with right here, and this is going to replace the side of our X carriage. Now, okay, so this is part one of this. Now the next step, we're going to have to make a couple modifications on the ramps board, and I've got a obviously unwired ramps board right here just to demonstrate where everything's going to go. The first thing you're going to need to do, because until you do this, the ramps board does not put power to the servo pins. So what you're going to need to do is on this little header right here, which has 3 pins, you're going to want to jumper the 2 pins that are furthest away from the edge facing you. Okay, and this is, again, here's where the power supply is to get your orientation on the board. These last 2 pins need to be jumpered in order for there to be power put to the servo pins. I spent a couple hours trying to figure that out. I'm hoping you spend a couple of seconds looking around for a jumper. Then the next thing we want to be looking at here is this block of headers right here. This is where the servos attach, and servo number 1, which is what we're looking for, is the one that is closest to the power connector. So right here we're going to be plugging the servo in, and the signal pin is the one that, in my case, this is orange. The signal pin is the one that wants to go closest to the inside of the board, and you've got 5 volts, you've got ground, you've got signal, so the ground should be on the edge of the board, signal on the inboard part, so it should look something like that. So that right there is, and then of course the final step, which I'm not going to show you right here, but I'm sure if you've built this printer, you know exactly where this piece goes on your X carriage. It just replaces this part right here. And then now you've got the hardware set up, and then in the next step we'll be talking about how to modify your Marlin firmware, because the standard Marlin firmware that comes from Maker Farm does not include the auto bed leveling feature, and the standard Marlin, which you're going to download from the Marlin GitHub, is not set up immediately for the Maker Farm Prusa i3. So we're going to have a lot of configuring we're going to need to do, and that's going to be a separate video. So that's coming up very shortly. So for right now, this is Michael. Once again, thank you very much for watching. Happy printing, and look forward to seeing you guys in part 2. Bye.